Hello and welcome to this new video. Today a slightly different format as you might see. We have a guest here with us, Elliot. Elliot, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Elliot Patterson. I am one of the other competitors in the Excel World Championship. I think Lorenzo very often beats me, but regardless of that, he's invited me onto the channel, and
No,
we're gonna.
don't think so, honestly.
But yeah, I've got my own channel if you fancy checking it out. And today Lorenzo has prepared something very special for us to go through. So Lorenzo, over to you.
Yeah. So today we're going to run a little bit of retrospective on the season which has already ended last week, which is the Road to Las Vegas series of 10 battles of 2024. So let's go to see what we're prepared today. Basically, this series featured 10 battles, January to October, ended last week. Each battle contributes to the possibility to sign up for the Microsoft Excel World Championship with 5 spots for each battle. And what we want to do today is go through this season, do a little bit of recap and see basically what the season had for us. Okay, so we start with battle 1, which was called Doggy Daycare. A case by David Brown. I think a very nice case. It was based on the map structure. So basically you had those dogs going around this, I don't know how to call it, map, needing to have some food and also have some rest and baths. You needed to compute their movement and find out basically the answers from the different levels. You can see also the top 10 rankings for each battle. In this case, Diarmuid won the battle clearly with 1,150 points. So this will be probably a recurring thing to say tonight. This case actually had me as well in the top 10 with probably a decent score of 850. Probably one of the highest battle in terms of players participating. An average score of 372 points and a top 30 score of 725 points. So I think a nice start of the season with a slightly approachable, doable case for almost everyone. I don't know, Elliot, if you want to add something, maybe your general feeling during this battle, how you played on this.
Yeah, it was definitely a strong start to the season. It was a good case, definitely a tough case, as you say, reflected in those scores. But also, one of the things I like about the map cases is the fact you can do it manually, and so anyone reading it would know what they're trying to do. They're trying to go around. They're trying to, when they hit different coloured areas in that map, they had different things they had to do, like they were eating food, and that took time or whatever else. So it was a really easy one to go through manually, but trying to get those algorithms in to get you those bat chances. I think I really struggled with this one. I don't think I did anywhere near as well as you. I think I got around 500 or something in the end. Even looking at it since, there's something in it I can't quite crack. So I definitely need to go check out your video on this one, I think.
Yeah, my database says you score like 550 points roughly, so still a pretty decent score, especially for the first battle of the season. I think this case structure is where we are seeing the most lambdas coming from. So I've seen a number of different lambdas trying to compute paths, find the shortest distance, and so on. So it will be interesting to see what we will have in Vegas and also in the final stages of the Excel World Championship for this kind of map-based case. Do you have your lambda, by the way, on this, Elliot?
I don't yet have a custom set of lambdas. I'm behind. I've been watching everyone's videos showing them off. I need to go make some of them. I think in my head I've tricked myself that because Andrew Nye doesn't have a set of lambdas, I don't need a set of lambdas. But
he's the living proof you can do that without a lambda, but maybe, yeah.
I think the other thing with this case was it was the first one of the season, and it was the first time that we had more than 100 questions.
Yeah, true.
I don't know if you knew about that ahead of time. I didn't, and I think I got partway through the case, realized there were 3 more levels than I was expecting, and went, "Oh my goodness, I can't do this at all. What am I doing?" Managed to get that sorted before battle 2, luckily, but yeah, it took me by surprise and definitely stepped up the competition for this year. And I think despite the fact that we've got more levels and more questions than ever, we've seen some really, really strong competition this year. So might finally be the year that someone beats Andrew.
I think this case marked the transition from the usual 5-level case to the new, let's say, format established for MEWC of 7 levels. Personally, I think I was better at the old version because I'm more comfortable with difficulty rather than speed. But you know, it's probably more entertaining. You also have more option to score points as opposed to being stuck in one level. So I think there is beneficial towards the competition. I don't know your feeling about this.
Absolutely, definitely makes it harder, but definitely makes it easier to see in the scores, to see differences between people. You're not getting many cases this year where absolutely everybody in the top 20 was getting full marks, which definitely stepped it up, didn't it?
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Battle 2. Do you want to introduce it?
Yeah, so Battle 2 was Sommelier by Peter Charles. This was the case that I qualified for this year's competition.
Oh, okay, so a very important milestone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there were a couple of people in the Diarmid obviously had already qualified, and maybe there was someone else in there that had already qualified, but I think this was the one I qualified on. It was a really good case. It was a table-based case. You had 2 tables, one for wine and one for desired attributes of wine. You were trying to match the best people to the best wines. I think we can see in that top 30 score that for the top 30, it was a much more comfortable case than for Doggy Daycare. So over 1,000 points for that top 30 score versus 700 in Doggy Daycare. But that average score wasn't much higher. So I think while familiar to people that are used to the layout, I think a lot of the people newer to the competition were still getting to grips with what was needed. It was a really good case. It's one of the cases that I've managed to solve using only XLOOKUP, obviously not live.
I remember your video on this. Very nice.
Yeah, no, good fun. I did a couple of those now. And I remember I'm looking at this and I'm the first person on that top 10 ranking to not have full marks. And the reason I beat Chris Clark is I skipped bonus 4 and went to bonus 5. And I can remember that because that's what otherwise he would have beaten me on that ranking.
Yeah, that apparently proved to be a good strategy because you had 10 more points and also with 2 more seconds on the clock. So yeah, very, very close finish.
Very lucky.
Yeah,
how about you? How was you?
I enjoyed this case as well. I think I felt quite comfortable with the structure and also the tables with the attributes to solve the case. Actually ended up scoring 1,110 points, which wasn't enough to put me even in the a little bit than top 30, so probably top 20. Felt a little bit slow probably compared to you guys in the top 10 and top 5. So this already proves that it's not true that I beat you every time. This time you beat me, so that's good.
Hey, it's got to happen at some point. Yeah.
I also need to amend the previous one. You scored 620 points in the previous one, not 500. I was looking at the wrong figure, so I owe you that. Generally I think this was a very nice case. Also my side probably gave me some lessons on being organized with the data in order to gain speed, especially in those cases where the levels build upon each other. So here basically you could have had a scalable logic to compare wines and people and matching their preferences. So that's probably the biggest takeaway I had from this case.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the other thing is the one cell approaches of Diarmid Early have been very, very popular this season, and he's got a great video of his one cell approaches in this one, which
mind blowing,
amazing,
probably.
amazing what he can do. But whereas meanwhile I'm out building entire models trying to get to the answer. But,
yeah, I have the same approach. I'm an old school, let's say, modeler in those cases because I like to have everything, laid down properly, being able to go back and see eventually where the problems are. But yeah, one cell approach are every time more common than the previous one. I've also seen, I think it's called Jasper, doing the Python solve during this weekend qualifier, and that let's say had me thinking the whole weekend on what could be the future of this competition, if it's still Excel based, or if we will see more and more people with programming language skills entering the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all opened up now with lambdas and the Python function, so opened up to anyone really. So yeah, interesting to see where it goes from there.
Yeah, okay, let's go to Battle 3. Battle 3 was by Harry Seeders, who is not a first-time case author. He probably built a number of cases over the past year, so I want also to thank Harry, because if everything of this is possible is also due to the case authors. This was a nice mixed case with a section containing weird data. That's probably where the name of the case comes from. You had to like deal with Roman numerals, dices, messy data, and whatever. And then you also had a section which was map based, in which you basically had this void, I think it was called, full of aliens and ghosts. You needed to figure out what could be the potential dangers in terms of encountering some of them. Pretty long case as well, because it was based on several levels of difficulty. In terms of difficulty, I think it was quite in the middle, because we can see an average score which is in the middle between Battle 1 and Battle 2. Top 30 score 880. You can see 3 full marks, which are Andrew, Diarmuid, and Bo, who performed very nicely on this. And also the top 10 overall is quite strong. So yeah, what's your feeling on this? How did you do on that day? Or maybe you didn't do on that day, right?
No, I was on holiday.
Okay, well deserved.
I was off elsewhere, and unlike some of the people I've seen, I didn't take part on the beach with my laptop, sadly. But no, I've not had a go at this case yet, but I have seen both Andrew and Diarmuid's videos of it, and the fact that they managed to do it in half the time just blows my mind. I think I would still be getting to grips with what was being asked by that stage, but yeah, it looks. I think it's one of the first of 3 cases that we had this year that had that mix of having data and then having a map-based element as well, which definitely mixes things up a bit.
Yeah, now that you made me realize that, I can see the times of Andrew and Diarmuid are basically there, 16 minutes and some seconds. I remember Diarmuid, let's say, scoring full marks, but still not getting the first spot against Andrew. That was a nice gag, but yeah, I think overall 2 outstanding performance, because to solve this in 16 minutes, guys, with full marks is something I don't know how to call it. Probably incredible is the right word. And here I really had the feeling I somehow needed to step up my game, because I mean, first and second place full marks half the time, and then third place full time means there is really a difference among those 2 guys and the other people competing. But maybe the level playing is the field. We're leveling the playing field going forward with additional battles.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and step it up you did, because I think the next battle, Battle 4, Ship the World, is that the one that you qualified on this year?
Right, correct. Finally qualified with Battle 4. I was beginning to feel a little bit of anxiety not having my qualification after 3 battles, but eventually it came here. To be honest, I played to win that battle. You can see that by the time I spent, which is 24 minutes. And I thought I was good, but I had a stupid mistake on the last level, I think level 7, which costed me some points and ended up fourth. But I mean, cannot complain about this. It was a really nice game.
Still, top four is definitely nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
It was a great case by Benjamin Weber. Yeah, that was a really good case. It had all sorts of interesting elements on it. You were trying to find lowest distances, but also add in costs and moving goods around. It reminded me a little bit of the EVE Online case from the grand final last year.
Mm-hmm.
That gave Andrew and I yet another year with that belt. But the fact that you were going through and picking up different items and working out what they could fit on the ships and all that, it definitely reminded me of that case.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed that one. I think I didn't do anywhere near as well as you. I think I got 770 points by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Which puts me just below the top 30. I think I was number 36 overall, which still made the live stream end credits, but not quite good enough for Vegas for that one. But there we go.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway I got here was the good use of the time you have before starting the battle, when you can see the video introduction and figure out what could be the approach, and also if there are any useful function that can be built beforehand. I think this was one of the cases where I used that time in the best way, probably not the best way overall, but the best way for me. And I think that is reflected in the score and also the timing I used to solve it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a really strong result from you there, and shame that you made a little bit of an error, but I'm glad it still paid off, because that's a great result to have on there.
Thank you. Let's go to case 5. So case 5, I think, was one of my favorites in terms of case idea and also overall structure of the case. Case designed by Nick Boberg. Probably the first case he designed, if I'm not wrong. And the general idea was that you are diving below the surface to collect some treasures. And you can see the map there of the different items that you could pick up with the values associated. And so it introduced movements, but also, let's say, probably we had to account for different distances if you moved on a straight line as opposed to going diagonally. You had to consider pressure spent for the dive. You had to consider optimal routes to pick up the objects, or at least going in some order. So a very nice and mixed case, quite probably on the hard to medium mark in terms of difficulty, and that is reflecting in the scores. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's one of my favorite of the whole season. I don't know your feelings about that.
Yeah, I think it was a really fun case. I've done a bit of diving in the past, really enjoyed that. And the other thing I liked was the fact that it was a 3 meters horizontally and 4 meters vertically, or the other way around, and then the diagonal was 5. So it was that nice little Pythagorean triple. So the maths teacher for me was happy. There's also lots of very familiar names in those top 10 rankings. Number 2 is Jacob, who is the person who knocked me out last year.
And me as well.
He knocked you out last year as well,
yeah,
did he?
Before.
There we go. He knocked us both out last year. We've got our eye on him then. There we go. And he made it all the way to the final 8, didn't he? So on stage at Vegas. So if you're going to be knocked out by someone, at least it's going to be someone going all the way. But yeah, lots of familiar names on there, which is good to see. I didn't do particularly well in this case. I think I scored like 400 points or something. I got distracted and didn't read properly, I think is what happened. I did not get the fact with the fact that you could just move as you wanted. I thought you couldn't move through the pink cells, the orange pink cells, and that was my downfall in this case. As usual, very often my downfall is not reading the question properly. I don't know about you. But
yeah, I think that's a common thing. Literally, a very small difference. A very small detail can be of high impact in how you perform during the case. And missing a small detail can cause you lose a lot of point or time or whatever. So that's a key point, I think. Case comprehension is a key skill here. So yeah, it's so underrated and overlooked properly because
I
you're
remember
tempted to jump right into the solve, but maybe spending those 30 seconds, 1 minute to think of the best way, the most efficient one, can be the difference between I don't know, a top 50 score and a top 10 score.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I remember a case last year where Diarmuid Early tried to solve it based on reading the intro video alone. I think the passing notes case from last year, and he ended up scoring he may have even scored 0, I don't remember, but he scored a very, very low number because he'd missed something crucial in his understanding of it.
Yeah.
So it can happen to the best of us, and me as well.
And also, fun fact about Jakub, knocked both of us out from last year's competition. But when I was in Poland this year, I texted him, and eventually we met in Krakow. So we met in person before going to Vegas this year, where I think we will meet again. So actually met a couple of guys from the competition. So I think this is also a very nice upside to get in touch with people from all over the world, sharing this I can say weird passion, but still building some real connections with people.
Absolutely, it's a fantastic community, and it's everyone involved is really keen to reach out and chat to each other and get involved, as you say. So really good community to be a part of. Shall we move on to Battle 6?
And you have the honor to present this.
Speaking of scoring 0, my official score is 0 for this case. I would like to qualify that by saying that I loaded it up and then took a phone call, and so didn't do anything. But in typical Michael Jarman fashion, is this his second case? I know I can only think of one other Michael Jarman case, and that is Dicey Battle.
The Dicey Battle, which is another one of the hardest in the world circuit, probably.
Absolutely one of the hardest ones we've ever seen, and this was no different. I think Diarmuid Early did demonstrate how using Python you could do this in about 2 minutes. Yeah. But nobody seems to have done that. Maybe Pakapong did do that to get 20 minutes. I don't know. I've not seen how they've approached this case. But you were trying to do multiplication, and I think we even had explanation at the end. Mm-hmm. And I think Diarmuid had some secret hidden levels that he tried as well, where he was doing tetration right at the end on his channel. I am gutted that I didn't get to do this one properly. So my background is I used to be a maths teacher.
Okay. So high responsibility on this in terms of
scoring. If I'd been able to do this properly, I think I probably would have made a good go of it, or I would have absolutely embarrassed myself. So maybe it's for the best. How did you get on with this one?
Yeah, my feeling after this case is was I wanted to launch my PC over the window, so to speak. So no jokes. I remember when I started levels probably 1 and 2, I was okay. Is this that easy? Then level 3 introduced the carrying for the addition. And I kind of managed to solve that quite quickly. Then when I got to multiplication, my God, I cannot even remember how to do that on paper, at least with the Italian method, which is taught in school, but eventually figured it out, but it was too slow, clearly. So ended up scoring an ugly 220 points, which destroyed my whole average for the season. But I mean, it's still fine. With regard to
you say that.
Sorry?
Look at those top 30 scores though. You're not far off. Yeah. You're in good company, I think.
I think the top 4 guys here used ChatGPT to produce a VBA script to address that, because if you manage that through VBA, it's basically a 10 to 20 minutes job. So this for me is a big reminder of AI is there to come sooner or later. On this kind of case, which was in the sweet spot between simplicity to ask a machine to do it and also complexity for a human being to solve it, I think AI found its best use case for the season. Will be interesting to see how it will evolve going forward. I don't know what's your take on this, and if you try to use it to solve some cases.
I've not tried it on any cases yet. Yeah, I know Andrew Gaglunovich's view on sort of VBA and Python and Excel and all that sort of stuff and pre-prepared lambdas is anything that you could use in an actual job you can use in these cases. So I don't see why that wouldn't extend to GPT and any other AI tools. I do think for now, something like this case, I think I could trust it on, because it's the sort of problem that comes up in coding all the time. So it's going to have a solution. Whereas most of the cases are such a custom thing. I don't think, maybe that should be our next YouTube series, finding the ChatGPT baseline score for each of the cases, and then seeing who does well compared to that.
That will be interesting as a future video. So I asked ChatGPT to run the whole Road to Las Vegas series and see how it scored. Yeah, I think the other key component is the one you mentioned. So this case didn't imply any kind of visual input, so to speak. So it was just raw material, raw numbers to be crunched. So yeah, another plus to the use of that tool, which eventually turned out to be very useful, looking at the score of the top 4 guys. Okay, shall we move into Battle 7, which was, I think, the first case from Klinsmann from Brazil, on top of the cases he's designing for the Brazilian Championship. Overall, a very nice case, based on this concept of left dominance, which was not only applicable to hands, but also to feet and also eyes. So you basically had those famous people from history plus top Excel sport competitors with their attributes. You needed to compute a number of statistics, metrics, and whatever. So have heavy table case with some algorithms and calculations to do. Overall, I think medium case, probably medium easy, as you can see from the top scores and also the top 30 score and the average one. I can see you are in the 5th place for this, so full marks, 29 minutes and 30 seconds, still not enough to get the lead. What was your feeling on this? I mean, ended up 5th with that score. It's a thing.
Yeah, it was good. I liked this case. I really liked this case. Klinsmann's done a really good job at designing this, and as you say, he's got plenty of experience designing for the Brazilian Championship as well. So not his first case, but I think, as you say, his first or one of his first cases in the main series. Really enjoyable. I liked the fact it was already formatted as a table. The data set was at least already formatted as an Excel table. That's normally my first thing I do when I open any of these cases that has any sort of data table, is turn it into one of those tables. But nice to have that step done for us. Diarmuid Early, again, smashing it in almost half the time. I don't know how we're meant to compete with this, but yeah, this was another one that I managed to solve using only XLOOKUP, which is fast becoming my favorite function of all time. And I think Klinsmann was worried what that said about the case, but it didn't say anything at all. It was a great case. I really liked, I think it was your solution for the genetic decay. So for the eye thing, we have the genetic decay where after a certain amount of years, the eye swapped. And
you applied the logarithm for that, right?
Yeah. So
you found a shortcut. That's the math background, which comes useful probably.
Absolutely, it's the benefits of being an ex-maths teacher. But that absolutely would have done it the way you did it, and it doesn't really lose you much time. I think you got full marks on this, other than the bonuses. Is that right?
Yeah, I got around 1,000 score. Probably, I was let's say half on holiday during that period, not training that much, so I felt overall slow, and that's basically it. Yeah, so I saw the full case, not having time to go for the bonuses. Yeah, so that was my overall feeling. Kinda understood there was the logarithm thing beyond the genetic decay, but didn't want to, let's say, dive into that rabbit hole. I just built the table, let it go with the increase of each year, and that's it.
Yeah, no,
Also having an
absolutely.
engineering background, so I'm not excused to not have applied the logarithm.
Yeah. No, I think it was a really good case. Really enjoyed it, and it was nice to see. It's always nice to see references to people from the competition
Yeah,
in the data as well.
yeah. And that leads us into battle 8. Do you want to introduce it?
Yeah, so Battle 8 is that Peter Charles' second case of the year. So his first one was Sommelier,
Yeah.
and this was Treasure Hunt. This was a little bit of a map-based case, but I think the map didn't come into play until the bonuses. In fact, I think all the other levels you could do purely on the data. As you can see, everyone in the top 10 had full marks. I also had full marks. I came 16th despite having full marks because I did it in 26 minutes. And I think all the way down to 19th place were all full marks as well. You were close behind, I think, looking at this chart here. 1,130 points. So you must have been missing one or two of the bonuses. Was that right?
Yeah, I think I had a similar feeling to compared to Ship the War, so I went to for the win also here because I submitted with 15 minutes on the clock, which, by the way, spoiler, was not enough because Dearmore did that in 13 minutes and a half. You can believe it, I had everything right. I just picked the wrong row for bonus 3, I guess, or whatever bonus was asking to output the number of game in which you found the treasure. So I don't know what happened, and I probably think I put the right answer. Then I went back to change it, lost 1 minute, which was still not enough. It would have been 14 minutes, and changed with the wrong answer. So it was consciously making this mistake just in selecting the row to output. So, but yeah, overall I think I agree with you. A very nice case. The thing I appreciated the most is the creativity that Peter demonstrated in laying out this uncommon case structure, because I mean, I didn't design a single case, but I kind of see a pattern, no? When you produce similar cases between each other, each time you produce a case which is based on a concept which is not new. So here, using the case in this way, so nicely building the full levels and then using that to perform the bonuses with this treasure hunt was, I mean, very creative. So congrats to Peter, and also thank you, because he's designing a number of cases again, so he's one of the most I think prolific authors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a really, really good case, and Peter's cases are always good fun to solve. And the moving around the map was a really fun dynamic. I remember now. I can remember the messages you were sending at the time and how frustrated you were. It's such a shame because you did have that sort of 15-minute completion, and actually looking at the scores as well. I think Bo must have done the same thing, because he was also a 15-minute solution with the same score as you. So well done, because as you say, it was very almost there, and in any of the live scenarios you'd be able to see that you were one question off. So hopefully going forward you'll have a little bit of feedback on that.
Yeah, I always struggle between choosing to play it safe or go big or go home. But if I think if you want to win some of those battles, you for sure have to bet big and try to do full marks in a very short time. Of course, everyone in the ranking can say that, and that's why you have only one winner each time, and that's probably Diarmuid, looking at the scores we had this season. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Battle 9. So Battle 9 was the one featured in September by Harry Watson. I think the first case he designed, which was again a nice mix of table-based, calculation-based case with those information about cities, fictional cities with population, income, life expectancy, for which you needed to calculate different metrics. And then you have again a map-based section with the cities laid out in that fictional world with the river in the middle. You were asked to compute, I think, distances and also number of people in certain ranges. So Yes, it was a common map case, but at the same time it introduced some new ways of interacting with the maps. It asked you to perform some calculation on a portion of the map, which was probably something new. Medium to hard case, looking at the scores. Again, Diarmuid leading with full marks and 24 minutes. So incredible performance. See Brittany second place. Unfortunately, neither me or you make into the top 10, but I think we had some pretty solid scores. What was your feeling on this?
I thought this was a great case, really strong first case from Harry. Really excited to see any other cases that he makes either later this year or going into next year. Yeah, it was a really good case. I think I just scraped my way into the top 40 with 790 points. I don't know how you wound up doing on this one.
I think I had 950 points, which were enough to put me in the top 30, probably top 20.
Yeah, I'm just having a look now. Yeah, you were number 19. So,
okay.
So yeah, that was a good, strong one for you. Not as strong as some of the others, but it's done well. I think there was a lot in this case.
Yeah.
He was throwing a lot at us, and I got distracted by trying to do some fancy ways of getting those ranges out of the map. And then I watched Diarmuid's video. I don't know if you've seen his video on this, but where he just used two indexes with a colon between them. I had no idea that was a thing you could do. And I commented just as much on the video, and he told me that you can do it with XLOOKUP as well, and my world has changed. I mean, it's not changed to getting full marks in 25 minutes changed, but I'm definitely looking forward to applying that in some of the other cases going forward. Did not know that was a thing. That's it. That's exactly why we watch each other's cases, I guess, because it took me a good 5 minutes to get those ranges out, and I still wasn't getting it right. Whereas I could have probably done it in about 30 seconds if I'd known this one little trick.
Yeah, same for me. Ended up struggling with positioning in the right way, in rows, columns, the size of the offset, because I'm a big offset fan as a function. Yeah, I still need to digest that bit of information from Diarmuid as well. But I mean, the things he can do with the functions in Excel is incredible, and also the level of proficiency, because he always know what could be the bug is not the proper word, but the weird behavior of Excel with a certain function. I saw him posting a video of Saturday's qualifier and explaining why an embedded array formula into a not found parameter of XLOOKUP was not working. So the knowledge, the intimate knowledge of the function he has is incredible. So he is also very quick to find and spot problems, because you know by heart what is going on behind the hoods.
Absolutely. It's not by chance that he gets the #1 spot in almost every case. I'm sure if Andrew and I were taking part in more of these battles, we'd see a similar knowledge from him, because to be doing what the two of them do at the speed that they do it, you must have that such deep level of understanding. Sure. I don't know about you, but for me, I've only been using Excel for about 3 years. So one day, maybe with decades under my belt, I might be one tenth as good as they are. But yeah, the amount of knowledge they have around not just how to do these cases, but what Excel is actually doing under the hood, just incredible.
Yeah, no, I've been using Excel for a long time, but it's not my primary working tool. So I mean, I do a general use of Excel, never went into deep modeling and stuff like that. So MEWC was the first time where I needed to sharpen my toolkit in terms of functions, because I was limited to countifs, XLOOKUPs, and that's it. So yeah, I absolutely don't have the level of proficiency, so I'm trying to bridge the gap with the top players on this thing. Okay, you have the honor to close our series of 10 battles.
There we go. Battle number 10, almost there, by Emils. Emils is one of the not sure what his job title is, but he
the
works
COO, I think.
He's the COO
Yeah.
of FMWC. I know he writes cases for the FMWC, the Financial Modeling World Cup. I don't take part in that. I don't know if you do. I'm not a financial modeler, so those
Me
words
neither.
scare me. So I know he's written cases for these, but I think it's his first case for the Excel Esports. I loved this case. I got very excited about this case, and then I spent most of my time on this case going through trying to find names of people I recognized. This case was based on the top 10 or top 20 or so performers on each of the previous cases of this year. So I was going through looking at my name, I was looking at your name, looking at Hayden and Jared and Bo and any other names I could recognize, and got very distracted and forgot I was meant to be competing in it. It was deceptively difficult, I think. I think it looked, when you were reading through what was expected in the sort of the intro video, I was like, yeah, I can do that, no problem. And then I started going through the questions and I was like, oh, there's more to this than I realized. I stupidly skipped level 1, which set me up for failure, as I didn't have the correct sorts in place for picking out people's rankings and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight, probably should have made a table and sorted the table and then started going through from there. Might give that a go. I think that would have saved me 10 minutes of pain. I think I scored less than that top 30. That's just looking at scores now. Yeah, we both did. I got 617, which put me in 52nd place, which you came 37th, so top 40 at least, with 675. Yeah, really reflected in that top 30 score that this was a tough case.
Yep.
Of course, Starmer did fine. Chris Clark did really well. Eric Ashton as well. But those scores then dropping off to people not completing the full set of questions that earn the bonuses. Lots of really complicated things going on with finding your way around this map in the later levels. But really enjoyable, I think. How about you? How did you find it?
Yeah, totally agree. I think I did a decent prep work before the case started. I built basically a lambda to sort out the ranking for each battle. That proved very, very useful, except when I got to the question which asked to compute the average time with the odd or even players, so to speak. That completely caught me, so I had difficulties in calculating that average, figuring out that I was not considering to pick just half of the players. That's why my results were not matching. Probably ended up spending 10 minutes on that step alone, so I didn't have time to complete the map section. Also overcomplicated the path piece to find out basically the shortest path and the time between one battle and the other. So lots of things that could have gone wrong actually went wrong for me. But generally speaking, I agree. It was a very nice case, very balanced, also in terms of difficulty, mix of tasks to be performed. And you can see that in the score when you get the first spot, which is almost full marks, and then scores dropping nicely to 800 in this case for top 10. It means it was really well designed. So yeah, also the positive note is that we had, I think, peak players for the season, so to close the season with the highest number of players compared to the first battle, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It looks like it was a really healthy season and had some good interest throughout. I think that was reflected as well in the Open last week as well.
Yeah,
really...
I think we had 600-ish players competing in the qualifier. I'm not sure about the correct figure, but a decent number of players luckily signing up for the competition. Here we can see some statistics overall from the 10 cases we just commented. So number of players, yes, highest peak of the season with 284 players in battle 10. Then you can see the scores in the middle, which are the average and median scores, with 1,250 points as the full marks. You can see that, I don't know how to call it, the dip in June with with the simple case.
Yeah, just the Michael Jarman dip.
Yeah, and then the top 5 and the top 30 threshold, which compared to last year's, so 2023, I think we have seen a sharp increase in the average level of the competition. So I remember last year, probably my very first case overall of Microsoft Excel World Championship was what is my flight number, or probably was the second one I played. I scored top 8 with 500 points, which, I mean, it's not something you're going to see very often this year, considering the level of the competition. And also the case itself were quite different. It was more data manipulation. Now it's extremely more towards building a logic, laying out a correct structure to solve the case. I know your general feeling about the previous season compared to this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a lot more involved this year, and I think it needs to be. I think the scores reflect that. We see a lot more variation in those scores, and makes it easier to see who's doing well. Whereas we had a lot of bunching last year. I think the whichever case it was, Treasure Hunt this year, I think is the closest we've had to last year's in terms of score profiles. In that there were lots of people with full marks. But yeah, no, it's definitely a step up this year. I thought I'd be a little bit more on top of it as it was my second year. I don't know about you, but I thought maybe I'd be a bit more confident going in. But no, it's definitely keeping us on our toes.
Well, I think you did great also on your first year, because getting to the round of 32 was or 16 maybe, I don't remember exactly, was a very nice and solid performance. I think
likewise for you. Yeah, absolutely. It was a strong year for both of us, but going forward.
Yeah. And this leads nicely to the ranking I've calculated for this season, which basically scores player on an average score, which is based on 1,000 points as full marks. So basically, who gets 1,250 points gets assigned a score of 1,000, and every other score is ranked proportionally. We can see a clear winner, I will say, Dermot, with more than 8,871 normalized points, with an average of 887 points per battle, which is normalized, which is something extremely solid. So congrats to Dermot, who I think improved a lot compared to last season, because I remember here and there maybe he was I don't know, messing up the case for some reason. This year he has been extremely solid, so this is clearly reflected in this course. Then we see Pakepong second place and Jeremy Freelove third place, so congrats to those people. I see myself in 5th place according to this ranking, so I think overall a nice performance, pretty consistent without too many peak positionings. And I see you're also in the top 30, so congrats as well.
Yeah, there we go. Number 25. I do like how you are beating out Jakob by a whole two levels there. Yeah, lots of really strong players this year. These names all appearing at several points on those leaderboards. I will say the one name missing from this is Andrew Nye. I'm guessing that's because he only took part in one or two battles. So we'll see how he does against Jaromir this year. We'll also see how Jaromir fares in the head-to-heads. I think last year was the first year that he got through to the finals without being knocked out in round 2. In the previous years, he's had to go through those other last-minute things, I think, to get to the finals. So yeah, it'll be a really interesting year as the year progresses.
Yeah.
I certainly know the sorts of people I don't want to be up against in the next couple of rounds, and I think they're every name on screen at the minute.
Yeah, and to be fair, also your score is clearly affected by the fact you have 2 less battles compared to the people who played the whole season. So if you look at your average normalized score, which is more than 700, you probably deserve a very higher place in the ranking. But I mean, this means nothing, because the important thing is the knockout phase we will have in the next weeks. So yeah, I think everyone is counting the odds of being seeded against one of the top players, as opposed to have some smooth beginning of the knockout phase. I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I don't know your feeling, but I'm quite thrilled about the seeding we're going to have end of this week.
Yeah, really excited to see those come through. And I will say, for anyone that's nervous about it, there's every chance that someone high seeded is going to be knocked out. It happens every year, so keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully, you and I are in separate brackets and we can both thrive without coming head to head. The next 2 rounds for me are the day after my brother's wedding, so
it will be tough.
I've requested if I can be put into the afternoon time slot, but I think that increases my chances of being in Diamond's bracket. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So I'm either going to be doing it early in the morning, hungover, or in the evening, wishing I was already in bed.
Last year you were morning session or afternoon session?
Yeah, morning session last year.
Me too. Yeah, I'm not a very morning person, so I would myself prefer to be in the afternoon one. But yeah, it's random, so we'll see what the future will have for us.
We'll see what happens, and lots of good competition this year. We'll see who gets put on these live streams, and I'll definitely be watching along.
Yeah. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. That's everything we had for you today. Let us know in the comment if you like this format and you want to see more in the future. Yeah, and thanks everyone for watching. We will see you in the next one.
Thanks a lot. Bye for now.
Bye.